Is this system we call capitalism really capitalism? In a capitalist system, government is supposed to be small, but today the state is more bloated and invasive than it's ever been. Individuals and companies are supposed to operate in a free market. Good enterprise is rewarded with profit, and flawed enterprise with failure. But during the 2008 banking crisis, the people saw the Western economic system divided in a way they were told could never happen. When the taxpayer is footing the bill for the misplaced speculation of bankers, then suddenly, instead of the economy serving the human being is now in perpetual service to amoral financial organizations.
The idea was make your own life, be individually aspiring, and then you'll be individually achieving, and then you'll be individually prosperous, and then you'll be individually happy. You end up doing that in a glass jar. And the glass jar has a limited height, and it's encapsulating, and in the end, you die of lack of oxygen.
Perhaps there is this feeling of helplessness because we don't understand what the real problem actually is. Cleansing a few bad apples will not rectify the flaws at the heart of the Western economic system. A system that should be protecting people is in fact the very thing that's enabling our four horsemen to ride with such vengeance. The modern-day four horsemen: a rapacious financial system, escalating organized violence, abject poverty for billions, and the exhaustion of the Earth's resources, are riding roughshod over those who can least afford it. They gallop unchallenged because the cognitive map that's been put in place by our schools, universities, and our media does not encourage us to question accepted norms. One source of this disinformation is the neoclassical school of economics. These economists and academics have been successful in convincing the world that their models were gospel. But just as Gutenberg's printing press was revolutionary in the 16th century, today we're at the dawn of internet enlightenment, which will remove the cloud of ignorance upheld by academic and media gatekeepers. Education can be a form of mass mind control, and it's astonishing that today neoclassical economics continues to be taught in all Ivy League universities. If we're not offered proper education, we must begin our own. And a good place to start is to become reacquainted with the classical economists, and with something that so few question, but that affects us all, our system of money. The fiat system of money is a man-made law, and it's been abused. Is there a form of money whose law is not set by man?
When you look at natural law and gold, I sort of describe gold as being a natural form of money. All of the gold that's been mined throughout history still exists in its above ground stock. It's about the size of 2.5 Olympic swimming pools if you put all that gold together in one place. The key is that this above ground stock of gold grows by about 1 3/4% per annum, which is approximately equal to New World population growth, and is approximately equal to new wealth creation. So as the net result of this is that you have this very good consistency in gold's purchasing power over long periods of time, because the supply-demand equation is very much in balance. To achieve human liberty, you really need to have sound money, and gold is the only way to do that, because only gold is outside of the control of politicians.
It was the Greek philosopher Plato who said the ratio of earnings between highest and lowest paid employee in any organization should be no more than 6-1. In 1923, banker J.P. Morgan declared no more than 20-1 was optimum. Yet today's salary difference between top and bottom earners in global corporations can be higher than 500 or 1,000-1. A system of reformed capitalism built on independent money, a tax system based on consumption, not income, and employee-owned businesses would begin to build an economy that's not dependent on constant growth to service its debt.
And in the 1830s, Andrew Jackson beat the second bank in the United States. In the early 1900s, Teddy Roosevelt beat J.P. Morgan and John D. Rockefeller. In the 1930s, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, beat everyone from Wall Street.
Revolutions are philosophical. Getting organized and preventing the culprits camouflaging the real problem means it's possible to embark on a bloodless revolution against the violent organizations and barbaric leaders who've trashed the economy. Central banking, rigged capitalism, land speculation, income tax and neoclassical economics have corporatized democracy, stunted progress, perverted the course of human destiny and compromised the future of this planet. If these issues aren't addressed, then the next implosion will be on a scale unimagined.
The housing problem snowballed into an economic crisis that we haven't seen since the Great Depression.
This is not the story of some third world country, but it's about the world's only dominant superpower, the United States of America. The US now stands vulnerable to an economic catastrophe. How can we revive our manufacturing sector, given the fact that China has overtaken the United States to become the world's largest economy? Now our economy is centralized and caters to the needs and wants of a privileged few, leading to monopoly capitalism. Because of external ownership of majority stocks in Fortune 500 companies, the US economy has been transformed from free market capitalism to monopoly capitalism. According to the Semiconductor Industry Association, approximately 80% of all new 300mm semiconductor manufacturing is outside the United States. Today, Asia is the powerhouse of the manufacturing sector for the global economy. By reviving this sector, we won't just create high-paying jobs, but also deal with the rising Chinese influence in the 21st century. The semiconductor industry employs 250,000 people in US alone and supports more than 1 million additional American jobs. The semiconductor industry laid the foundation to the profitable business of modern electronics. In 1965, Gordon Moore, the co-founder of Intel Corporation, made a famous observation now known as the Moore's Law. It says, the number of transistors in a dense integrated circuit will approximately double once in every 2 years. Moore's Law was supposed to benefit not just the semiconductor industry, but it was also supposed to empower the masses. Though communication has been revolutionized, people have not been empowered to the extent to which they were supposed to. Companies like Intel and TSMC have backed off from progressing to 450mm silicon wafers. This is because of monopoly capitalism, which has resulted into a poor economic demand, leading to poor return on investments. If our economy is allowed to regress this way, then Moore's Law will meet its demise, and the knowledge-based US economy will be in doldrums. The solution lies in decentralizing our economy and transforming monopoly capitalism into mass capitalism, thereby ushering an economic democracy. An economy for the people, of the people, and by the people. This is not just a theory, but it is absolutely possible. Technological innovations in America have always been bettering the lives of people across the world and rescuing people from the clutches of poverty, unemployment, and struggle. Apek Mulle, in his book Mass Capitalism, explains, mass capitalism is nothing but capitalism that works for all. It is a roadmap to retrieve what we have lost. According to Apek, we are not far from an economic depression by the end of 2015. If we fail to implement mass capitalism now, American economy will be in a kind of situation we don't want to imagine. This is where mass capitalism brings hope. It is the answer. A blueprint for our economic revival that will help us eliminate unemployment, establish a free market economy, reduce the gap between supply and demand, and bring back the American dream. It is possible. Get to know the startling facts about our economy, path-breaking ideas that no one talks about, and lots more. Mass Capitalism. Get your copy today.